Am I the asshole? For digging in my heels and refusing to invite my estranged father and his wife to my wedding? I'm getting married this year and the wedding is going to be smaller, so those we want to invite know when the wedding will take place and are confirmed to be free. Invites will go out in the summer. But unofficially the people who will be invited have been invited. This was because it was important to us to have those closest to us present and we didn't want a hugely expensive wedding. This has become a problem because I did invite my grandmother paternal and she has a relationship with my estranged father while I do not. Background is needed here. When my brother and I were 4, we lost our mom. Our mom's twin sister helped our dad out a lot after mom died. We actually lived with her for 7 or 8 months while our dad was spiraling and losing control of himself. She was there for our first day of school, she fed us and clothed us and protected us a lot during the period we lived with her, and once dad pulled himself together and took us back, she was still the person taking care of us after school and on Saturdays or Sundays when our dad would work. She was essential to us. She and mom were orphans, so it was just her for the maternal side, and dad's side were not close by and did not play much of a role in those earlier childhood memories. But our aunt did. Then my dad got engaged and life changed fast. My dad's wife did not want our aunt around anymore. She wanted to become the mom and she did not feel like my aunt would make that easy on her. So my dad and his wife fiancé at the time moved us out of state and we moved around a lot, so my aunt could not get any visitation rights to us. We did not get to see or speak to her at all after that. I know she fought for us. She did track us down a couple of times and we moved again. We missed her like crazy, and over the decade that followed dad tried to erase all traces of our aunt and mom and attempted to create a little nuclear family with the 4 of us. But we hated him and we hated her, and when we were teenagers we tracked down our aunt, and at 18, we moved out of our dad's house and ended all contact with them. My grandmother was aware of all this, and when we were kids she was understanding and did attempt to advocate for us to see our aunt. But once my dad found out I was getting married, through a person who actually isn't invited to the wedding but knew I was engaged, he was talking to my grandmother and he told her how badly he and his wife want to come and how sad they are that they have been removed so completely from our lives. Now my grandmother is saying they should be invited, or at least my father, because he's still my father. I told her it would not happen and refused to compromise with just him. So she's unhappy and she said I am taking things too far and doing what they did, only I know how harmful it can be long term. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. This man let you down, big time. H refused to let you have a relationship with your aunt. Constantly moving you to avoid your aunt was cruel. He has no right to be a part of your life or your wedding. Not the asshole. Sorry, but grandma doesn't get a say. She didn't experience having an important, consistent, loving person ripped from her life as a child just because her dad and his new wife were jealous. She doesn't know how it feels to have a family forced on you and your only family tied to your deceased mom taken away. Nope. Her little bit of unhappiness that your father is not invited to the wedding is nothing compared to the unhappiness he caused. And oh, your father is sad he and his wife are not invited? Too bad. They made that happen for themselves. Not the asshole. Your grandmother is unhinged to suggest that years of isolating 2 grieving children from the only mother figure they know is somehow equivalent to not inviting an estranged father to a wedding. Has she always placed some of the responsibility of your father's abusive behavior onto you? Or is this recent assholery from grandma? Not the asshole. It's your wedding, it's your invitation list. Reassure your nan that you know and that you are comfortable with both the short-term and the long-term consequences of what you have decided to do. Also, tell her that if your father shows up, you will have him removed from the site. The last thing that you want is a surprise at what should be a joyous event for you. Well, grandma can be unhappy. But who is on your guest list just isn't her decision. Your grandmother was good to you during your childhood and you still feel warmly toward her, and so she gets an invitation. You don't feel the same way about your dad and his wife. Not the asshole. As you tried to remove our aunt, one of the only people who listened to us, and then tired to have us accept your decision, you effectively cut your contributions out of our lives. You chose to remove our family. I've chosen to remove you altogether, and you know why. Please don't contact me again. Send that to your father, and have security at your wedding find a big burly teddy bear bouncer, ask them if they can help, and that should be it. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. That man and his wife basically stole your childhood away from your aunt, who was the next best thing to your mother. That man and his wife can go and have their pity party elsewhere. Not the asshole. However, your dad is a massive who cared more about his new wife than his grieving children, and you are simply making him lay on the bed he made. Not the asshole. Now that you know your grandmother's stance, I would consider hiring security for your wedding just in case your sperm donor and his family show up out of nowhere. And, warn your grandmother that her relationship with you is on the line. Your sperm donor has a lot of nerve wanting the perfect family while he went the distance to destroy his. Congratulations on your upcoming wedding. Not the asshole. They uprooted your life repeatedly just so that your stepmother could have her way and so your aunt couldn't get visitation. Nope, they are in the NC penalty box for the rest of their lives. You may need to cut your paternal grandmother out of the wedding as well, because I would bet real money your father tries to show up anyway if he's told where it is being held. Not the asshole. I love you, Grandma, but frankly this is not your business. He moved us around to keep us from having the only maternal relationship we still knew, specifically because he cared more about his new wife's desire to be our mother than he did our feelings and emotional needs. We were his children and he cared more about forcing a relationship on us than he did our happiness. He is not my family, blood does not define family for me, he will never be family. If you want to act like him and choose to try and dictate who is in my life, you know what my response will be. This isn't something I'm willing to discuss any further, and while I'm sad you are upset, this is my wedding and my life and that's all there is to it. Not the asshole. What bugs me about this is that, when he found out you were getting married, he didn't take steps to contact you and apologize for what he's done, or to make any amends. He whined to his mom. He doesn't feel any remorse for how he treated you, he just wants to go to the party and feel like dad by walking you down the aisle. Well, too bad, he's not dad. Maybe you could ask your aunt to walk you down the aisle.